It's your favorite rapper, Ali Russo. And as you can tell by the title of the video, what we gonna talk about. Don't mind that hair, man. I ain't gone to the barber in a minute. I like to let my hair grow out so bald head niggas can get up, so bald head people can get upset at my hair. It's a joke, but I'm seriously joking. Just my full thoughts on this Wilder fight. One, I think it was a draw. You can't give Tyson Fury, who boxed well, he had rounds where he boxed well, but you can't give Tyson Fury the WBC belt after he had to get off his ass twice. I don't know if ever in history there was a time where a champion won the belt, not the champion, but someone won the belt after they had to get up off the canvas twice. You know what I'm saying? And not have it where they didn't return the knockdowns. You know what I'm saying? Now if Fury knocked down Wilder twice, then it's like, okay, and returned the favor, then you got to give it to Fury. You know what I'm saying? If Wilder doesn't have that second knockdown, Wilder probably loses that. Well, Wilder loses that fight on the scorecards because the draw is not a draw anymore. It's a what is that? A 15-13, a 15-12 round, 15-12 card, something like that. 14-12 card. If he doesn't have that second knockdown, or is it 14-13? Probably 14-13. If he doesn't have that second knockdown, and it's a split decision to Tyson Fury. People were, and shout out to Fanon International Boxing, Trail Boxing Talk in the morning. They come on. I'm in Baltimore City, so is that Eastern? No, I guess Eastern. They come on about 10 o'clock, 9:45, 10 o'clock where I'm at. That's 78 Sports TV. That's, oh, God damn it. It's Trill, it's K-Hove. Damn it, Trill Boxing. I watch this Trill Boxing Talk more. A Black Fight Fan. God damn, I couldn't think of the damn name for shit. Black Fight Fan. Who is everybody in the LDBC, you know what I'm saying? Tone Bangers, Ron Finkley, the Cali Enigma, Coach, Junior the Truth, all them guys, man. Shout out to all them. Go follow all their channels. Just look up the LDBC and boxing on YouTube. You'll find them. Because they talk about this all day long. But I'm just adding my, flavor to the neighbors. So like I said, I don't know how many times in history someone got knocked down twice in a fight, didn't return the knockdowns, and won the belt. Because they were fighting for a belt. They were fighting for Wilder's WBC belt, and they were fighting for lineal championship supremacy or whatever, which in a sense would have made, if I'm not mistaken, would have made Deontay Wilder the undisputed heavyweight champion or something like that. Because that would have means he has all four belts because he beat the guy that beat the guy. You know what I'm saying? When Tyson Fury beat Klitschko, he got the belts. And all because of, all this other stuff that happened, what happens. That's how Anthony Joshua has the belts now. He's the paper champion. But a few things. I'm going to touch on that Paulie Malignaggi, who, I'll touch on Paulie right now. Nah, that's weird. But yeah, I'll talk about Paulie right now. And I like Paulie. I do. I'll still listen to Paulie. I don't listen to Paulie when he talks about Deontay Wilder. I don't know what his gripe is, what his issue is, why Deontay Wilder hasn't bent out of shape. I have no idea. But it's almost every time that at least lately, that he's talked about Wilder, it feels like it's just been, he's been negative. He's been negative, very negative towards Deontay Wilder. And I have no idea why. They are nowhere near the same weight class. And I forget who said it. Somebody in the LDB said it. But I think they were saying that they, because Ward came out and said, no, they were talking about Floyd. They were talking about Floyd. Floyd and Paulie, because they're traditional. You know what I'm saying? They're not knockout punchers. You know what I'm saying? So they are, I don't know if it's because they're biased to the traditional boxing style, or they just don't like Deontay Wilder. Because they love, I'm not going to say love. They're all for Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, it feels like. But they don't seem to be for Deontay Wilder. The one that you think that at least Floyd should back. You know what I'm saying? Paulie, he could probably go both ways, but Paulie should probably be backing Wilder too, because Wilder is American. Paulie Malignaggi, from my understanding, is American. You know what I'm saying? We know Floyd's American. So it's like, why aren't you rooting for him? You know what I'm saying? Like, no idea. I have no idea. And you would think it's this Al Heyman's guy. Al Heyman's rocking with him. You figure Floyd would. I don't know. Floyd's a weird character. But back to Paulie. So, like I said, Paulie never has, like, he rarely has anything nice to say. And I remember Paulie was, maybe maybe Eddie Hearn and them were paying him more money, and that's why he's doing it. I have no idea. Because he was doing the, or was Showtime, maybe Showtime was hosting that fight. But when Anthony Joshua was fighting Parker, Paulie was really trying to talk up, like, high-skilled fight between Joshua and Parker. And I'm looking at this fight, and I'm like, this fight is boring. Like, and it doesn't even look like highly skilled because they sat in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't throwing many punches. Nobody got knocked down. Nobody got knocked out. Anthony Joshua almost got knocked down with a damn body shot. You know what I'm saying? It didn't even touch him. He looked like he about to fall from that. And that was probably really the only highlight of that fight. But Paulie was trying to talk it up like, this is what boxing is. Boxing is this and da-da-da-da. But then when it comes to Deontay Wilder, it's just all negative. All negative talk. You know what I'm saying? He's down in the champion. He's not even... I can't even remember, like, you know, the calls that they were making during the fight. But I remember talking... I had my cousin and my uncle and my homeboy over there. And I'm telling them, I'm like, yo, they're talking about things that aren't happening, or they're only saying these things. You know what I'm saying? So if you're watching the Showtime, or you're watching any one of them, the commentators can kind of sway you a little bit. So if he's saying, oh man, he's killing him with that left hook, you know what you're gonna start looking at? This left hook that he's killing him with, ignoring that this guy might be throwing body shots, ignoring the jab, ignoring the fact that he's bringing the pressure. You know what I'm saying? Now you're looking for this hook because you feel as if these guys, you know, they've been doing boxing commentating, and some of these guys are even boxers, and they know more than you. So you're just assuming, okay, I'm gonna listen to this guy because this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. No. Yes and no. They're calling things that they like about some of these fighters. You know what I'm saying? They're calling things that they like. You know what I'm saying? They're calling things that they see. But a lot of the times you gotta figure, boxers usually get their game plan from their trainers. Or they come up with a game plan. So, is a former boxer always the best choice to try to gauge how a fight's going? Because you're gonna have biases. Period. It's just gonna happen. You're gonna have biases. But are they gonna call the fight? They're gonna call the fight the way they see it, and they might call it more obviously to their kind of style of boxing. Oh, I like that he can do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I like that he can do this. I like that he does this. And they're probably things that mirror what they do. And you get some that are going to call it straight down the middle. Some are. I think I've heard Roy Jones call it straight down the middle a lot of times. Paulie has called it. Oh my goodness, what is going on there? Paulie has called it down the middle sometimes, but just when it comes to Wilder, he just kind of doesn't. But like I said, with the commentators, you're expecting them to know, and they'll tell you things, but now you're like kind of gassed up on it. I want to know how different it is from back in the olden days. I don't know if that sounds bad or politically incorrect or whatever, but when boxing was on the radio, when all you had was the commentator, you know what I'm saying? And the commentators had to be correct, or they had to be more correct, because they had to explain what they were seeing. You know what I'm saying? So they might have been better commentators, you know what I'm saying? Because these guys, man, Fanon was saying it, and probably more people, that Paulie is turning into the HBO guys right now. I think it's Jim Lampley. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of that Wilder fight, man, he was bugging out, bugging out. Who are these guys to tell these guys that they shouldn't have a job because they called the fight a certain way? You know what I'm saying? Like, and because they didn't call the fight how you called the fight, you think that this guy should lose their job. Okay, there's a lot of people that feel like you called the fight wrong. Should you lose your job? You know what I'm saying? Like, when people get on that high of a horse, man, they need to glue trap their ass. You know what I'm saying? You cannot be that high up on your horse. You can't be that high up on your horse, man. Like, to try to tell somebody they should lose their job because they called a fight between two people different than you, because the guy that you expected to win they don't think that they won. And if you're going to be completely honest, and I'm going to go back, I'm going to watch the fight again when it shows up on Showtime. When it shows up on Showtime, I'm going to watch it again, because I think when who was it? I forget who. Larry Merchant, maybe? Man, I'm probably wrong on the name. That's definitely wrong on the name, because that's HBO. But when they said that Fury won the first 5 rounds, I was like, what? Fury won the first 5? Really? Are you out of your mind? Fury, there's no way Fury won the first 5 rounds. The first 5 rounds probably weren't that exciting, but Fury didn't win just because nothing happened. And that's something that I think how they call Wilder fights and how they call some fights when it's the classic boxer puncher kind of thing. If nothing happens in the round, the boxer won. But in this case, Wilder has the actual belt. He has the belt. He's the guy with the belt. If you don't go make something happen with him, you lost that round. You have to be the aggressor. How was Deontay? One, granted, if this was a boxing clinic, how people describe it, if it's a boxing clinic, Wilder gets knocked out. If it's a boxing clinic. Because that means that Wilder can't hit him. He's good enough to get his punches off and not get hit. And he would knock him out. He doesn't have a lot of knockouts. Deontay Wilder, I'm hearing stories that he came into the ring at 209 pounds. Tyson Fury, if he dehydrated and if he dehydrated to make his muscles pop as much as possible, and then rehydrated, there's a possibility that Tyson Fury came into that ring at like 280 pounds. So he's literally probably outweighing Deontay Wilder by 60, 70 pounds. People say he put on a boxing clinic and he whipped his ass. Why wasn't Deontay Wilder out on his ass? This man is 80 pounds, between 60 and 80 pounds heavier than him. 2 inches taller with a 2-inch reach advantage, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen 83 and 85 inch reach advantages. How is he not knocked Deontay Wilder out? Because if he has to punch up one that takes a lot of power off his punch, which we also know that like Deontay Wilder knocked his ass down twice, so he still had power. But you nullify the punches, I feel, when you're not on the end of them. I don't feel, that's fact. You don't want to be on the end of those punches. So if he's in more, He takes away some of those punches. He's outweighs Deontay Wilder by a lot. He was putting on a boxing clinic. He should have been able to get Deontay Wilder out of there. Period. He should have been able to get Deontay Wilder out of there. There's no excuse. No excuse. If I outweigh you, if I've been boxing as long as he has, which is all his life, fighting all his life, and I outweigh you by like 80 pounds, 70, 60 pounds, dog, I'm coming at you. What would stop me from coming? And I'm taller than you by 2 inches? Not saying that maybe Tyson Fury wasn't thinking, hey, I'm not worried about his power. He is worried about his power. He's knocked out everybody he's been in the ring with. But if I outweigh you by that much and I got all this boxing skill, why am I not mauling you? Why am I not beating the shit out you? Really? I'm just saying. So that's why I disapprove of that. Because for Deontay Wilder to last 12 rounds with somebody that outweighed him by that much, drop him twice, you telling me he lost? Well, you miss it. One big factor. I already explained how much, like, the weight difference. So it's going to look like, and you're going to cause more damage. So Deontay Wilder's going to look more worse for the wear, because he's getting punched by a man who's punching down on him with 60 more pounds, between 60 and 80 more pounds than he has. So Deontay Wilder's face may have, looked bruised, and he didn't. Fury's face looked more beat up than Wilder's, one, because Fury's white skinned and Deontay's black, so that's what you have that. But so you have that. So the fight, so it's gonna look, so the punches and everything's gonna look worse and look more effective when Fury does it. Fury outweighs him by like 80 pounds. So when he hits him, it's like, oh shit, he hit the shit out of him. Well, shit, let anybody that's 80 pounds heavier than you hit you. It's gonna look like you got hit. It may not hurt you, because it really did look like Deontay Wilder ever really got hurt. He may have got stunned a few times, where it's like, oh shit, that was a little bit harder than I was expecting, but I don't think he was ever really hurt. But getting hit by that shit, it's gonna make your head go back. It's gonna make your head jerk. You know what I'm saying? And Fury was catching Wilder with some shit, some hooks. Oh my, Fury caught Wilder with some shit that I'm like, yo, press him. If Fury would have pressed more, he wins that fight easy. At least that's how. At least from watching that fight and seeing how it was going, I think he wins that fight. But he was so worried about what might come back, I guess. But if you could, anyway, whatever. That's getting into something else. So nobody wants to give Wilder credit for being the much smaller guy. You know what I'm saying? Much smaller guy. And taking the fight to him. For a lot of that fight, Fury was on his bike, backpedaling. A lot of that fight, he was on his foot, on his back feet, backpedaling. You know what I'm saying? He was on his bicycle, getting out of there. You're not telling people that he's the aggressor, because nobody said anything about him walking forward except for George Foreman in a tweet that Wilder was walking forward. Because if you left it up to the commentators, Wilder's not doing anything. Wilder's not jabbing him. Like, Wilder, the only reason they talked about that one jab that Wilder threw was because they caught it on tape and Tyson Fury's nose started bleeding. But he got caught with a couple jabs. A couple of them jabs hurt Tyson Fury. And I seen it. I'm like, oh, jab hurt him. I'm like, boy, you lucky you got out of there. You lucky you got out of there. So what the hell? The hate and I guess the disdain for Wilder is just, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? I think this fight proved more than what people want to give it credit for. It proved how tough of a champion that Deontay Wilder is. It proved how good of a boxer Deontay Wilder is. Because even though because in the press conference, he admits, man, I got away from the game plan and I just tried to knock him out. So he didn't even decide. He didn't even show his boxing acumen that much. Because he showed some stuff. He had some hooks. He had some body shots. I wish he'd have threw way more body shots. Because Fury was scared. He had Fury scared the whole time. Fury was so enamored by that left hand, right hand, by not trying to get hit by it. You know what I'm saying? And even Fury told you that he was a tough competitor. He did things that he was. I don't know if he said he did things he wasn't expecting, but he even said he was a tough competitor. That jab was in his mouth all day. You know what I'm saying? And somebody said that Deontay Wilder hit him with some lucky punches. You don't knock someone down that's supposed to be that much of a better boxer than you and outboxing you that well that you knock him down twice. And on the second knockdown, he hit him with 2 shots. So, the hate for Wilder, I've been rocking with Wilder for a long time, man. Like, probably around since he fought Chris Ariola. I don't know how old. I remember Chris Ariola was one of the first fights, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the first fights I seen him in. I seen him fight the first Remains Different fight. All that jazz. I've been a Wilder fan for a while. And I'll say it again. The second knockdown saved him. Because it's hard for me to say you won. It's hard for me. It would have been hard for me to disagree with people that say that Fury would have won if he only had 1 knockdown. The second knockdown saved him. You know what I'm saying? Because, and even the scorecards was saying that, you know? And I feel like I repeated that, but it is what it is. I felt like it was something else I wanted to say, some other things. But, yeah, man, I now, and this is probably what I wanted to say. Now, what this fight showed, to me, Anthony Joshua, if the rumors are true and Anthony Joshua and them want to try to fight him now, they doing it because they don't want to get boxed out the picture. Because I hope they don't think that watching that fight makes them think that they can beat Deontay Wilder. I hope not. This is a dope ass truck. That's a nice ass truck. I hope they don't think that they're gonna beat Deontay Wilder because of that. I hope that's not. And I don't see Anthony Joshua beating either one of them. His best bet right now, if he wants to make his name feel more relevant, his best bet is to fight Luis Ortiz. Honestly. That's his best bet. Because at least he has the height advantage over Luis Ortiz. Granted, I still think Luis Ortiz is going to beat his ass. But he has the height advantage, and he has the option, and he has the ability to watch how Deontay Wilder fought him. Granted, he's not Deontay Wilder. I'm not saying that. But you're going to be patient with him. You're going to have to try to, really, really box with him. And from how Joshua fought Parker, he can not throw a punch for a long time. So that's his best bet is Luis Ortiz. Because he's not beating Wilder right now. He's better trying to fight Luis Ortiz because Luis is older. I'm not gonna say he's old. He's older. He's on his last, he's closer to his last fight than the other two guys, because Wilder's 33 and Tyson Fury's 30. So Ortiz is much closer to his last fight than the rest of them. So I don't know, man. Ooh, what are y'all doing? Okay. So I don't know. He's not beating neither one of those two guys. That's off the table. if anybody thinks that Anthony Joshua is going to be able to keep up with them two, you tripping. You are tripping. Anthony Joshua looked his best from what I can recall and remember. Curtis Martin. Is it Curtis Martin? I think that's the Martin fight. And that wasn't even that great. Like, Klitschko was old. And he was just old. And he got dropped by Klitschko. Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Klitschko dropped him. So, and Klitschko almost won that fight. He was close. He was on his way to it. But Joshua did show some grit in that fight. But still, he got hit. I don't think he can take a punch well. That's why he always keeping that right hand up by his chin. Like, he will not let that thing move. I don't think he can take a punch. At all. Shit, how Parker hit him, he didn't even hit him. He almost fell. So, anyway. Yeah, that's all I got, man. I don't really got nothing else. Y'all have a good day. Bless your heart. Ali Boso signing off. Westside loves you. Peace.